the truth shall set you free. This is part 2 of Come Out of Her, My People, the call to separate. You probably know my name by now. If not, you see it at the bottom of the screen. I'm really nobody. As I said, the Messiah made himself of no report. So I'm not going to do the same either. Before we get started tonight, I would like our my co-hosts, if you wouldn't mind, to introduce themselves.
I'm Elder Aharon ben Israel.
I'm Elder Shadonai ben Israel.
All right, shalom, elders.
Shalom.
What we're going to do, viewing noise, is go right back into the subject matter once again, but we're going to give you a rehash of the previous show. Once again, this is part 2. We're going to have Elder Aharon Babakashai read to us Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, so we can give you some foundation again.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sin, and lest you receive of her plague.
Go ahead, Elder. You can read the 5th one.
For her sins have reached to heaven, and Elohim has remembered her iniquity."
And see, this is something that we didn't mention last show because we just talked about a whole lot of stuff. And hopefully you tuned into that. If you didn't see it, maybe you know somebody that taped it. I believe we put some things out there that some of you may have never heard before, but they're biblically based. When it talks about my people, at that particular point, a lot of people say to us that you all are racist. You try to make this a black thing. Anytime you hear a person who's a Hebrew, who happens to be an Israelite, because all Hebrews, quiet as kept, ain't Israelites.
That's right.
Ishmael, he was a Hebrew, but he wasn't an Israelite.
That's right.
Edom, he was a Hebrew, but he wasn't an Israelite. Midian, same thing. This is the point. The my people are those in whose heart reside Yah's law.
That's right.
Both Hebrews who are Israelites and the other sons and daughters of Adam. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Yah is exclusive when it comes down to those that belong to him that work righteousness.
That's right.
Huh?
There it is.
That heart.
There it is.
Written on the tablets of your heart, made manifest by your physical actions, making known the basis of your faith through your works. Understanding that. So now, bringing you all up to speed, we're going to Matthew 25, verse 31. The last show, we were showing you that there's a time to separate. As it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, there's a time for everything under the sun. There's a time to interact with people. There's a time to shun certain types of interaction. There's a time to correct. There's a time to refrain from correction. But right now, we ain't even receiving the necessary correction to turn us to the Father. We despise correction. And in the book of Hebrews, it says, now, unless the Father corrects you, you a bastard.
That's it.
We didn't do the correction of earthly fathers. But we don't even want to be corrected by the Father today. Let's look at this. Because there's a distinction in the eyes of Yah made manifest through Yahshua the Messiah by this other parable. The previous one was the tare of the wheat, the children of the kingdom, the children of the wicked one, the kingdom of Yah, the lake of fire. Go ahead, Elder. Verse 31, Matthew 25.
Go ahead.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Do y'all believe that there's some people that say that when we read this, we are buying into some Greco-Roman Hellenized interpretation? There are many people, especially many Israelites, that don't believe that Yahshua is coming back here. They don't believe that he ascended to the Father. They don't believe he resurrected and was raised from the dead by the Father on the 3rd day.
That's right. That's true.
They don't believe that. But when he returns, it's going to be to their shame.
That's it.
Shame of face. Is that right?
That's right.
Go ahead, Elder.
And before him shall be gathered all nations. And he shall separate them one from another.
No. He going to keep them all together.
Nope, no separate.
Why is he going to separate? Because maybe in the Father's eyes, because he's given to the Son of Man to execute all what? Judgment.
That's right. That's right.
Judgment is now meting out based on your work.
That's right.
Your reward.
That's it.
Go
That's
ahead.
right. Again, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goat.
So, separate, divide. This is all we've been talking about, right? So, Yah makes a distinction. We read earlier where it says that you might know that I make a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So, Yah's going to make a distinction now between all people on this planet.
That's right.
Through Yahshua.
That's right.
Go ahead, Babakashai. Because we're going to read it to verse 34. Verse 33, please.
Okay. 33. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
Now, we know normally that right hand imputes favor. Is that right? Remember when Israel was about to die, and he took the hand that, Joseph thought he was putting the wrong hands on the wrong children. He said, I know what you don't know. the younger is going to be more prestigious than the younger. So he put the hand of favor on the head of Ephraim, and the left head on the hand of Manasseh or Manasseh. That's the whole point. Go ahead.
34.
Uh-huh.
Then shall the king, Yeshua, say unto them on his right hand,
Right.
Come, ye blessed of my Father.
Also, those on the right are blessed by Yah.
Absolutely.
That's a distinction, though, right?
Absolutely.
You got to be on the right hand to be receive the blessing. Just want to make sure we reading that. Uh-huh.
Inherit the kingdom, prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
So if we see now, correct me if I'm wrong, elders, we see sheep, goat. Right hand blessing, those who receive the right hand of favor get into the kingdom. Prepare for them, right? But let's look at the reward of the goat. Let's look down at verses 41 and 46.
Okay. Verse 41.
Watch this.
Then shall he who Yeshua,
Yes.
the king, say also unto them on the left hand,
Yes.
Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
I'm sorry, elders. Can y'all help me with something? I thought if a person dies, don't they teach in Christianity that when you die, specifically the Protestant movement, not the Roman Catholic one, because the Roman Catholic one talks about purgatory. Don't we get taught in church right now that if you're wicked and you die, you go to hell and you're in torments? Elder, could you read verse 41 again? Because we've got to make a distinction here.
Absolutely. 41.
Yes.
Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
So the cursed throughout the ages don't go into the fire until the day of judgment when the Messiah returns. Is that right? And the devil, who we have been taught is in hell, in the fire, ain't there until that time either.
That's right.
It said prepare for the devil.
That's right.
Prepared means he's yet to get in it.
That's right.
That's all I want to be sure about.
Yeah.
I'm not reading into this, am I? That's true? All right, it's prepare for the devil and his angels. Verse 46, Elder, if you don't mind.
Okay. 46. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment. What these? These that are the goats are on the left side.
That's right.
And these shall go away into everlasting punishment. But the righteous who are on the right side, it says, into life eternal.
Isn't that a distinction?
That's right.
Let's go to where Yeshua made this distinction early on during his earthly ministry. Let's go to John chapter 5, verse 24 and 25. John, viewing audience, or Yahochanan is the proper way you pronounce his name, chapter 5, verses 24 and 25. We're showing you that the Father makes a distinction. Wait a minute. If Yah makes a distinction at the time of the resurrection of the wicked dead, how did the wicked dead get there unless they did wickedness in their life? They chose. There's a choice. They chose evil over good.
That's right.
Because Yah is merciful. He has no pleasure in the death of the wicked. That's what he said.
Absolutely. And I might add, too, though, even among the wicked, there is going to be a separation.
Yeah.
Even among the ones with eternal life, there's going to be a separation. Why? Because everyone will be judged, or everyone will be, so to speak, rewarded.
That's right.
According to their works.
That's what's written.
So that means that if you've done a lot better than I have, Elder, that means that you're going to reap more benefits than I am.
Absolutely.
And that's truly a good and positive thing. That's well deserved.
Absolutely.
Right.
So even amongst the wicked and amongst the, the ones who are evil or bad or on the goats, there's still going to be a separation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because everyone is not the same.
No.
We didn't live our lives the same.
No, we did not.
Some did better than others.
And that's very, very true. Look, and we're in John chapter 5, verse 24 and 25. Elder, could you read that, please?
Truly, truly, I say to you, he who hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life and does not come into judgment, but has passed out of death into life.
He's going to be judged, but judged righteous. This is talking about he shall not come into condemnation. He shall not receive everlasting punishment. Everybody, there's a judgment of everybody. The righteous dead, the wicked
Wicked
dead.
dead.
The righteous living at the coming of the Messiah, the wicked living at the coming of the Messiah. Isn't there judgment for all?
That's
Blessed
right.
is he who partakes in the first resurrection. How? They were judged worthy.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead.
That's right.
Truly, truly, I say to you, an hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and those who hear shall live.
In that day, there was an ability for the spiritual dead to hear the voice of Yah through Yahshua, and those who were dead, they would live. He
That's
said, I
right.
have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. He wouldn't say this to a people who are already alive.
That's right.
They were the living dead and didn't know it.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Look on over to verses 28 and 29. Then he put another face on this. Go ahead.
Do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming in which all who are in the tomb shall hear his voice.
Now, is that reflective of both the righteous dead and the wicked dead?
That's right.
There's a distinction in the grave even,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Even though they ain't living no more, their thoughts cease on the day of their death.
That's
Again,
right.
distinction.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And shall come forth those who have did good deeds to a resurrection of life.
There's a separation.
That's right.
Huh? Go ahead.
Those who committed the evil deeds to a resurrection of judgment.
Oh, wait a minute. So we have a pattern here, viewing audience. Correct me, y'all. If they paying attention, they should see that there's a fundamental pattern being established here.
That's
But let's
right.
go to the very beginning to see where Yah himself, at the inception of creation, he began to show, if we were reading, that he makes a difference.
Yeah.
He made a difference from the very beginning in his creation. The
Yeah.
creation bears witness to the fact that there's a difference in the eyes of Yah between one thing and another. Everything in its place, in its time, and its season.
That's right.
That's what Solomon said, huh?
That's right. That's right.
There's a time and season for how many things under the sun? All things.
That's right.
Not one, but all.
That's what
Huh?
he said.
Let's go to Genesis, or Bereshit, chapter 1, verses 3 through 5.
That's right.
Check this out, viewing audience. You got to hear this message today. These are the words of life.
Absolutely.
That's all this is about. This is not about who you like, who you don't like. That is emotional. That's subjective.
That's right.
Be born again. Unlearn
That's right.
what you've been taught. That's what this is all about. All right. Read verses 3 through 5.
Chapter 1,
Yes, chapter 1.
verses 3.
Through 5.
Okay. Genesis 1, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And Yah said, let there be light. And there was light. And Yah saw the light, that it was good. And Yah divided the light from the darkness.
Oh, so in the very beginning, he's making a distinction.
That's right.
There's a division now.
That's right. That's right.
Darkness is being separated from light. Light's being separated from darkness.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And Yah called the light day. And the darkness he called night.
Yes.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Or Yom Rishon. Now, the word in Hebrew for divide or divided is badal, which means to separate or to sever. Now, you might say, brother, that's equivalent to the same word, palah, because in Hebrew you have words that sometimes have the same definition, but based on their placement in a sentence, they impute different types of things. That's the best way I can explain without confusing you. Let's go a bit further. Let's go just into an overview. We don't have to read this. That was in day 1. I'm going to read something. In day 2, between verses 14 and 19, same chapter, there is a distinction made. We see the division of the water, from the waters above, from the waters below. There was something that divided those two. Also, we see 2 great lights in the heavens, and the stars were made also to divide day from night. Let's go to something which is a great distinction. We need to put their attention on, elders. Let's go to chapter 2. It's called the Sabbath day. Because in the beginning, there was 7 days, right?
Yes, right.
But Yah only created during 6 days. Let's read verses 1 through 3. Genesis chapter 2, 1 through 3. Because there are 7 days and 6 committed to creation, but he separated the 7th day. Is that right?
That's right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Chapter 2, verse 1.
Please.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them.
Yes.
And on the 7th day, Yah ended his work.
Let's stop right there for a second. We see how it works with you and audience. he ended on the 7th day because he finished his creation on the 6th day by creating you.
right.
In the likeness of Elohim, he made them. Male and female, he created them and called their name Adam, or man.
That's right.
But his wife, Hawa, she had her own separate name because she was the mother of all living, but they both constituted man as the creation of the Father created from the earth. Is that right?
That's right.
So watch this. So it said he ended his work, but watch this mistranslation. Go ahead.
Again. Verse 2.
Yes.
And on the 7th day, Yah ended his work,
Yes.
which he hath made. And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made.
Now we know Yah don't need no rest. Viewing audience, because we might have some people who are apostates, you know, people who don't believe that the Father is who he is. They might say, now look at y'all God. We don't first of all serve a God. Yah is not a God. He is not a God of gods. Yah called himself El Elyon. That's who he is. El implies mighty in power, mighty one. Yah is not a God. Make sure you clear about who you're talking about. Allah is a God. See, a God is a figment of your imagination. A God is like a potato. You can make a potato in about 100 different ways. Slice it, dice it, put some cheddar cheese on it, and it tastes good to you. Yah is one. Echad. He's alone. Understand that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28. You have something you want to offer, Elder?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Please.
What we're reading here is English, and even though we just read in verse 2 right here where it says that, and he rested on the 7th day. Some people, when they read that, they take that to mean that the Father
Gets tired.
However, even in the English, look at your dictionaries, look at your Webster dictionaries, you will see that the word rested actually has more than one meaning.
Right.
One is, it has something to do with refreshing yourself, as opposed to another meaning or additional meaning, which simply means that something ceases or stops. This is the meaning that we want to apply here.
Exactly.
Rested simply means stopped or ceased.
Plain and simple.
So all it's doing is repeating what he said right here in the earlier part of verse 2.
Exactly.
And on the 7th day he ended his work.
Came.
And that's all he did. He ended it.
That's right.
It's just saying the same thing twice.
That's all it's saying.
That's
and
all.
the reason, viewing noise, is because we are Hebrew. And right now we have a responsibility and we have a right to recapture our language.
Absolutely.
The word
Absolutely.
that actually goes there in Hebrew is Shabbat. And Shabbat means cease, stop.
Absolutely.
But we're going right now to let Scripture validate that Yah don't need no rest, to Isaiah 40 and verse 28. I'll read that if you all don't mind. Viewing audience, Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28. Check this out. Have you not known? Have you not heard that the everlasting Elohim, Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, faints not, neither is weary, and there is no searching of his understanding? Did y'all hear that? Very clear. We ain't got to say nothing else. Huh? So if you ain't heard, now you heard. Now you know.
Now you know.
Let's go on back to chapter 2 of Genesis, because viewing audience, elders, they got to understand that the Sabbath day ain't got nothing to do with belonging to the children of Israel.
Absolutely.
The Sabbath day don't belong to Jewish people. Watch this. Let us read in verse 3. If you could, Elder Bakasha.
Okay. Let Scripture interpret Scripture.
Absolutely.
There are no private interpretation.
There ain't no private.
Let the book interpret itself.
Absolutely.
That's right.
That's all. Verse 3.
Yes.
And Yah blessed the 7th day and sanctified it.
There you go.
Because in it he rested, ceased from all his work which Yah hath created
Now,
and made.
exactly. Now, we had badal, we had palah. Let's look at the word in Hebrew for sanctified. We heard it in the first show. It's kadash. Sanctified means to make holy, to set aside. But it's something very, very, another separation, Something very interesting here. Many people say, well, that's Jewish. I'm not under the law. I don't got to keep the Sabbath day. The new Sabbath day is either Friday for the Muslim or Sunday because of what Constantine did at the Council of Nicaea. Sunday. But check this out. Let's go to what Yahshua said about the Sabbath day. Yah created man on the 6th day. Is that right?
That's right.
All the descendants of Adam right now come through the sons of Noah. Look at what Yahshua said in Mark chapter 2, verse 27. Mark chapter 2, verse 27. You say I ain't Jewish, I ain't a Hebrew, I ain't got to keep the Sabbath day. You a lie. You ain't read what's written.
That's right.
Hey, look, I'm going to say just what John said. If you say you know him and you don't keep his commandments, John said, you are a liar and the truth is not in you. If he could use them strong words, I am just like the master. I'm no greater than the master. I'm going to say what the master said also, because that was one of his students. Elder, could you read that for us if you don't mind? We're in Mark 2:27. What does Yahshua say about the Sabbath day, Elder?
And he was saying to them, the Sabbath day was made for man.
Stop. Did it say the Sabbath day was made for Jewish people?
No.
Did it say for Hebrews?
No.
Were there any Hebrews back in Genesis chapter 2? Did he set the Sabbath day aside for Hebrews, Jewish people? He set the Sabbath day aside for who? Man. Did Yahshua say the Sabbath day was made for who, Elder?
Man.
For man. Go ahead.
And not man for the Sabbath.
Whoa. So you mean to tell me in the viewing audience, y'all got to keep the Sabbath day? Your Messiah said the Sabbath day was made for man. Is that what's written?
That's right, for Adam and all the sons of Adam. Truly all sons of Adam.
You sure better believe that.
Of course we are.
You sure better believe it.
Right.
Let's turn to Genesis chapter 6. We're going to just walk them slowly through some precedents for separations. Genesis chapter 6, verse 7. You all can't get out this thing. You're going to either submit yourself of your own free will, or the Father's going to let you choose the imaginations of your own evil heart. And you're going to find yourself at the lake of fire. These are efforts to keep you from everlasting flame. But you love the heat. Genesis 6, 7 through 9. Let's read that for a second, because we've walked our way through the beginning. We see creation having happened already, but something happened. Creation degenerated because of the fallen angels. The sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, both Adam and Kawah, and they were beautiful, and they took them wives, and all flesh corrupted its way.
That's right.
So something happened in the Father's eyes to make the Father want to do something to all flesh. Let's read this for them in the view. 6, 7 through 9. Go ahead, Elder.
Okay. And Yah said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air. For it repenteth me that I have made them.
It didn't say I was going to destroy the earth, did it?
No.
This is the same world from the days of Noah.
That's right.
Same world from the days of Adam, right?
That's it.
Now watch this, viewing audience, because even in the days of great evil, there was a distinction made. Somebody was separate from all those evildoers. Is that right?
That's right.
Look at the next verse.
Okay. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yah.
Or mercy. Wonder what Noah did. Noah did. Didn't say that his family found grace. It said he did. Let us turn them to something. Look at verse 9.
9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations.
Blameless, not sinless. He was righteous to the best of his ability in that generation, and Yah counted that righteousness as something that would allow him to be set aside and to do what? Bring us life to the other side of the flood. Let's take them, elders, to chapter 7, because we're going to try to piece this thing together for you to show you that you got to be holy today, but not the way the Christian church, the sanctified movement, Islam, and nobody defines holiness. Because you put a long dress on, mean you're holy? Huh? Because you cover your head, mean you're holy? Because your beard long, make you holy? What makes one holy? What makes one holy? One's obedience to the law of Yah.
That's it.
Huh?
That's right.
Psalms 19 says the law of Yah is perfect. Converting the heart. That makes one holy.
That's it.
That's it, huh?
It all goes back there.
All back to the heart, right? Chapter 7, verse 1. Now watch this.
And Yah said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteousness before me in this generation.
Wait a minute, so there's a separation. So in order for him to say that Noah was righteous, there must have been great evil and unrighteousness. So there was a separation there. So we read earlier about the sheep, everlasting righteousness, everlasting life rather, because they were righteous, and everlasting condemnation to the goats. So if you look at that same analogy, Noah would have been one of the sheep. His reward was his life. His salvation was attained because he was found righteous before Yah in that generation. Is that right?
That's right.
Let's read them something in verse 2 and 3 that I think you in the viewing audience going to find very interesting, because you all think you can eat whatever you want and you're still going to get into the kingdom. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7, the male and his female,
Right.
and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female.
Y'all see what happened when you don't read your Bible? We get that old wives' tale that he only took them on the ark 2 by 2. We see he took 2 by 2, the unclean.
That's right.
But the clean he took by what? 7.
That's right.
So, but watch this. You mean to tell me, even in the days of Noah, when they weren't eating flesh, not to eat flesh, they were not sustaining their livelihood, their lives, by eating flesh. They were not allowed to eat flesh, view noise, until after they came off that ark.
That's right.
They were told to get on that ark. Noah was told,
Right.
you take your food, and the same food you eat, the animals got to eat also. So, wait a minute. In the eyes of Yah, how could man know that certain meats was unclean? Man wasn't eating meat. Yah knew that certain meats were unclean, even before the flood. Now watch where I go with this, y'all. Before the flood, there was unclean meat. And Yah made a distinction before the flood between the clean meat and the unclean meat. So conversely, would they get off the ark eating what Yah had already determined was unclean meat? No, they would not. They went on the ark being told it was unclean. Why would they eat unclean meat coming off that ark? So when they were allowed to eat flesh, they were allowed to eat what they knew, because the Father let them take clean flesh on there, what was clean flesh. How do we know this? The definition of clean in Hebrew, the word is tahor. Its definition is pure in either physical, chemical, ceremonial, or a moral sense. The definition of unclean, a word, is tameh. Its definition is to be foul, especially in a ceremonial or moral sense. Let's take them to Leviticus 11, verse 7. Let's talk about some pork for 1 second. Let's talk about some catfish. Let's talk about some shrimps. You know how people don't say shrimp, they say shrimps. Shrimps or swimps. Is that what it is? Let's talk about some crabs. Let's talk about some snails. Because, see, you love your oppressor, and your oppressor lets you think that by eating that way, you have now attained prestige. But you don't understand that Yah makes a distinction between clean meat and unclean meat. And if you eat what's unclean, you are an abomination in the eyes of the Father. But wait a minute. Through the word of prayer, sanctified. You a lie. What Yah has called clean, let no man call unclean. What Yah has called unclean, let no man call clean.
That's right. That's right.
Huh? Ain't that what Peter said? I have perceived that Yah is not respect of person, but any man that would do righteousness, Yah accepts. Let me call no man who is clean in the eyes of the Father unclean.
Who can curse what the Father's blessed?
There ain't no way
Can you
possible.
do that?
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can you bless what the Father's cursed?
Can't. Didn't Balaam find that out? How can I bless what? How can I curse what Yah is blessed?
Same principle.
Let's go to verse 7, you all. We're in Leviticus chapter 11. Viewing audience, please keep up with us, because we're trying to lay some stuff out here for you so you can save your soul. You have a responsibility. Verse 7 through 10, elders, if you don't mind.
Want me to do it?
Yes, please.
And the pig.
Wait a minute. Is that the pork chops? Is that the hog maw? Is that the hog head cheese? Is that the Rocky Mountain oyster? Is that the chitlins? All that. So if your book says swine, no, swine is not a bird. Swine is another word for pork, for hog. Sow, a female pig.
Also, Aki, can you just go through, name a few just real quick things so that the listening audience can know what the swine or the things that they hide it behind. You know, like the monodiagram.
Oh, yes.
Educate them.
Absolutely. Beautiful point, Elder. Different foods itself. You have animal byproducts in it. Colorings, flavorings. Different foods, let's say they may have red 40, blue 30. Artificial flavorings. Things on, look on your ingredients if it says artificial flavoring, natural flavoring. If you see on your capsules as far as your vitamins are concerned, or your herbal supplements, if it says gelatin, this may be from a pork substance. This is unlawful. Satan knows that a lot of us don't have enough constancy to research and find out that he ain't gonna put a pork chop in front of you necessarily. He'll put some pork in your vitamins. He'll put some pork in your baby's formula. He'll put pork derivatives in your whole milk.
He'll even go as far as taking pork casing.
That's right.
And having beef encased in these pork
beef sausages, is that right?
Mono and
diglycerides.
It's also
that's
pork.
right.
So
Unless right, I'm sorry, and it has to say if it's monodiglycerides, it must say of a vegetable source. If it does not, you are to assume that it is of beef and or pork. But let's read that again, Elder, verse 7.
and the pig.
Yes.
For though it divideth the hoof,
Right.
thus making a split hoof, it does not chew it the cud. It is unclean to you.
Unclean, but they say, I ain't a Jew, I ain't no Hebrew, I ain't no Muslim, no Muslim, I'm going to eat me some pig. So we're going to see. We're going to see. Because we're going to take you to what Paul said about your body, which is the temple of Yah, and in the event you're going to eat you some pig or smoke you something, get high or something like that, you're going to see what the Father thinks about you. You merely need to come to terms with the word of Yah and seek deliverance, because Yah can deliver you from drug usage, from alcohol abuse, from smoking cigarettes. We know people. Some of us have had those maladies. He's delivered us. Yah can deliver. You must believe. Your deliverance is in step for step with your faith. That's all it is. Go ahead, Elder.
You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their carcasses. They are unclean to you.
Now that's perfectly clear. Chapter 11 is devoted to clean meat and unclean meat, to make a distinction between what you can and cannot eat. And you go down further, it talks about everything that swims. You can't eat it because it come out to sea. It has to have fins and scales. Catfish ain't got no scales. Is that right?
Yeah.
The crawdad, the crab, the lobster, those are exoskeletons. They are unclean. They are scavengers. They eat boo-boo, just in case they don't understand what scavengers are. Yeah. They eat the dead, decaying things. That's a part of Yah's way of setting up his garbage disposal system in the sea.
But listen to this.
Go ahead, Elder.
46 and 47.
And that's where we was about to go, please.
It says, this is the law. Understand this. It says, this is the law regarding animals and the birds and every living thing that moveth in the waters and everything that swarms on the earth, to make a distinction,
there it is again,
between the clean and the unclean, and between the edible creatures and the creatures which is not to be eaten.
So even in diet, the Father is wise enough to give us a prescribed way of eating, so in his eyes we'll be at least physically clean. Not, okay, if an animal, a predatory animal, eats pig, for that animal, the pig is not unclean, it's for us. We were made in the image of Yah. Yah never prescribed man to eat flesh until man fell. Check out the original diet in chapter 1 of Genesis. You never ate flesh.
And this is very important here, Elder, especially for those who think that they understand. Should we assume that Shaul or Paul okayed for us to eat pork or unclean? I mean, did he really mean that?
No.
When he said pray over your food? I mean, you know, in other words, what I'm saying here, people, is that did Paul really okay that?
No.
For all those who think that he really okayed that,
Right.
and you think that's what he meant when he talked about praying over your food and what have you, you think that's what he meant? Can you turn to your Bible over to Acts,
please,
24th chapter, please?
Right.
We're going to see.
Let's lay it out.
We're going to see if he meant that. Because if he meant that, and you understood him to mean that, and when we finish reading what we're about to read, then we would be rightful in our judgment to say that Paul was confused. But I don't think he was confused, though.
No.
Okay.
Please read it.
Acts the 24th chapter, the 14th verse.
Verse 14.
Shaul is writing. Shaul is. This is Paul.
Right.
Read the entire 24th chapter.
Right.
This is Paul speaking. He says, but this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I, Yah, the El of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets. Did we not just go over the law?
That was the law.
Okay, so now, so Paul must be confused, right? If he so Paul, he's the bad guy. He's got to be, if he's telling you that it's okay, but yet at the same time he's telling you he believes in the law and in the Father and in this law that was given to us. I don't think Paul was confused.
No.
But listen.
I think listening people, you're the ones that's confused because you truly do not understand Paul.
That's right. Go ahead.
Listen to this. Proverbs 29:25.
Please go ahead.
Listen to this very carefully. it says the fear of man brings a snare.
Right.
But whoever trusts in Yahweh shall be safe. Do you understand that Yah's law is your safety?
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And if you don't trust it,
Absolutely.
hey, the fear of man is a snare to you.
Absolutely.
And that's what you in,
That's
a
right.
snare.
A snare, because we believe the pastors, the mullahs, the imams, and, all, and the whomever, we'll believe them over the word of Yah.
Hey.
For you in the viewing audience, let's turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16 and 17, because you probably don't think fat meat is greasy by now. They just rambling and they just talking out the side of their neck. But see, your problem is not only do you not believe the words of Yah, you don't believe the words of the Messiah, you don't believe the words of Paul. Because you just read what Paul said. I keep all the laws of Yah.
That's right.
All the laws. Now watch what Paul just wrote in concert with that. Elder, could you read that? We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16 and 17.
3:16.
I'll take it, I'll take it. That's all right. Know you not that you are the temple of Elohim, and that the spirit of Elohim dwells in you. Now, we've read where it said pork is unclean, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait a minute. If any man defile, if you eat unclean, it defiles you.
Yeah.
If any man defile the temple of Elohim, which we just were told is your body, him shall Elohim what? Destroy. For the temple of Elohim is what?
Holy.
It can't be holy if it's got pork in it,
No, it
which
can't.
temple you are. So if you eat pork, you, being a temple of Yah, you are now unclean, and Yah gonna destroy you. Which means you can't get in the kingdom. I guess Paul confused on that too, right? He was, see, that's the only place right there where he wasn't talking to us, even though black folk are being told they're Gentiles. That ain't written to us right there. Everything around has to us, but that ain't got nothing to do with us, right?
One book, one law.
Ain't that something?
That's it.
Huh? Let's show them, elders, where the Father made a distinction after the days of the flood with our father, Abraham.
That's right.
Genesis chapter 12, verse 1.
That's right.
Because this is the only reason we here, because he separated Abraham from something and somebody.
Yes, he did.
Are you all getting the point?
I hope so.
I hope y'all understanding that we're not grandstanding. We're not trying to come to you with cleverly contrived words or statements. We are preaching to you,
That's right.
Yahshua, crucified. To some of you foolishness, and to others of you a snare.
Yeah.
But wait, it's written, it says if our gospel be hidden, it be hidden to those who are destined for destruction.
That's it.
We ain't wishing nothing on you, but Yahshua said, hey, don't murmur. You can only come to me if the Father draw you. And you can only come to the Father if you come by me.
That's it.
That's what's written.
That's it.
That's something, ain't it?
That's something.
Huh?
That's something.
Let's go to chapter 12, verses 1 through 3.
Okay.
Uh-huh. The call of Abram, or Abraham. Go ahead, elders. Uh-huh.
Verse 1. Now Yah has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee.
Can I ask y'all a question? Is that a separation?
Yes,
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
Didn't he separate him from his kin?
Absolutely.
Even all the other sons of Shem, he's now separated.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Huh?
right. That's right.
Go ahead.
That's right.
Verse 2.
And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thee, or make thy name great,
Uh-huh.
and thou shalt be a blessing.
Now watch this.
And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.
Because we, being the descendants of Abraham, were supposed to not be a part of the families of the earth, but we were supposed to shine the light of Yah, the light of truth in their presence, and them being a law unto themselves, like Paul said, they would see our good works glorify our Father.
That's right.
But now we prefer to be like them. This is why we're now languishing in the land of our enemies, and the land of our enemies, as Leviticus 26 says, shall consume you. It is eating us up right now.
Yes, it is.
Our eyes now pine away in the land of our enemies. Let's go on further to chapter 17. Because the Father makes a distinction now after calling Abraham, separating him from his father with Abraham's children. Something got to happen to them to show the Father through this promise, this covenant, that they belong to him, and this is a physical sign. Look at verse 7. Chapter 17.
17 and 7.
Yes.
And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant.
Right.
To be a El to thee and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan.
Right.
Art a stranger, and all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their El.
Can I ask you all a question? That means right now, we ain't got to go to the UN, the World Court. We ain't got to ask the United States to help us socially and economically reestablish our footing in our land. The land has been given unto us. Is that right?
That's right.
In Daniel chapter 2, it says, and the kingdom shall be given unto them. We ain't got to ask nobody to help us. Who we gonna go ask? Pharaoh today? Who Pharaoh? George Bush? Let my people go, right?
That's right. That's right.
What type of nonsense is that? George Bush ain't hardly running nothing.
That's right.
But his mouth. And he ain't really talking too clear these days anyway. But let's go further. Verse 9.
And Yah said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thou seed of thy seed after thee in their generations.
Because keeping that covenant that he's about to give the provisions of will make a distinction between his seed, Abraham's seed, amongst all the people of the earth.
That's
Is that
right?
right?
That's right.
Separation again.
That's right.
Go ahead.
10. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee.
Right.
Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
Not the ones that we want to.
Right.
All of them, right?
All
That's right.
male children.
So if we are Hebrews, then we're supposed to be circumcised.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
Stop right there, Elder, because for some years, I've heard you, especially when I came into the truth, I've heard you teach that the token of the covenant in this respect would be a sign, a signal. So if there is no circumcision of one's physical penis, there is no sign in one's body that you want to adhere to your provision or your end of the bargain.
Absolutely.
That's right.
The circumcision is a sign that lets the Father know that you are his.
That's right.
And that you are a part of his covenant.
That's right.
You see, so this is important because it says that this is an everlasting covenant.
Right.
That's
and it
right.
does not mean that it only goes for a certain time and then it ends.
Right.
In other words, we do this until a certain time, which is far in the distance, maybe until the Son of Man comes. No. This is an everlasting covenant.
That's right.
That means it's to go on forever and ever and ever.
Right.
Until all things have been fulfilled. This is what Yeshua said.
That's right. There's no way for that to be broken.
Absolutely.
All right, go ahead. Verse 12, Elder, if you don't mind.
And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man, every male child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed.
Now, there may be a quandary for those in the viewing audience because they might say, well, I hear what you all saying. The Father's been touching my heart. I got children. They older. They ain't been circumcised. The Father's so merciful in your ignorance. You can only do what your ignorance led you to do. Nothing.
That's right.
But guess what? You know now. He didn't know up to do good. James 4:17, and does it not, to him it is sin. Yes, you sinned, but not doing. But the Father, through not just us, but this word that's been here before we open our mouth, is now letting you do the right thing. Go, humble yourself, and ask the Father, how do you get your child circumcised? Don't make the excuse, get yourself circumcised. Your father was a very old man when he got circumcised.
That's right.
Huh?
Sure was.
Very old man.
That's right.
It's going to hurt. He wasn't worried about that. They didn't have no local anesthesia.
No.
See, we just cowards. Fearful. Unbelieving. We're going to have our part in the lake of fire. You better get circumcised. Well, I ain't no Jew. It ain't got nothing to do with being no Jew, no Hebrew. It's got a part of being blessed because Abraham was going to be a blessing to all the people on the earth. And through you shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. That means all the nations of the earth got to be as Abraham's descendants were, circumcised. Can't get around that. Yes, the Father's making a distinction to seed there. You better believe it. You can't be a spiritual Hebrew or a spiritual Israelite. You can be an obedient child of Yah by merely humbling yourself. Don't worry about our nationality. We got enough on our hands to worry about.
That's right.
Huh? As you said, how you said, Aki says, and there's no wiggle room.
No wiggle room with that. No. Not at all. So point being, if you haven't had it done in 8 days, I wasn't circumcised when I was 8 days old, but I've got it done over the years. So let's wind this part up right here for them. Let's look at chapter 26. As this cable show, this particular part is winding down. Let's look at chapter 26, verse 5, because Abraham continued to distinguish himself because the Father told him to do a few things.
Right.
He loved his son Ishmael. He had to cast him out. He loved his son Isaac, Yitzchak. The Father tested him to see if he was going to love him over him. So Abraham was found faithful with all that Yah told him to do. 26 and 5 of Genesis. Watch this, you all. Go ahead, Elder.
Because Abraham obeyed me and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my law.
Wait a minute. Abraham was faithful in all his house. There was nobody like him.
That's right.
And Abraham was going to guide his house by making sure they did what they were supposed to do in his life, so in his death, there would be an unbroken chain.
That's
they
right.
would all be obedient. Doesn't it say in Proverbs, raise up a child in the way that he ought to go, when he gets old, he shall not depart?
That's
That
right.
is what this is talking about right
That's
there. Go ahead,
right.
Elder.
And my question is simply this.
For
those who contend that they are descendants of the children of Abraham, or they are from the seed of Abraham, I would simply like to know, how can you be a descendant of Abraham or be from Abraham, come from Abraham, and do not obey the commands that Yah gave to Abraham and all of the generations which were to extend from Abraham?
Yeah, I understand.
That's my simple question.
That's crazy.
It's simple.
And you know what, Elder? If we could turn to Numbers 15:15, this is why, if I'm understanding what you're saying, they don't get it, because they don't see us first as the children of Israel. So there's no proper representation of the Father in the world now, because they say, well, if I'm going to do that, don't I have to become Jewish, or don't I have to convert to Judaism? Nowhere in this book called Bible is the thing called Judaism mentioned. Just like Christianity is not mentioned, just like Islam is not mentioned. Law was given. He said, obey my voice indeed. Not just indeed as a phrase, but in your action, in your deeds. Obey me. That's what he meant. Huh?
Absolutely.
15:15. Elder, could you read that? Babakasha.
One ordinance shall be for you of the assembly, and for the stranger who dwells with you.
Watch this.
An ordinance forever throughout your generations. As you are, so shall the stranger be before Yahweh.
Look at verse 16. It says, one law. Go ahead.
One law, one custom shall be for you and for the stranger who dwells with you.
But see, we didn't understand that the stranger was supposed to be the one that gravitate to us. We wanted to gravitate to the stranger. Go ahead. Let's look at Leviticus 20 and 22. You had something you want to
I just want to say simply this, is that if we see the Father with his arm stretched out and holding his son Israel in his right hand.
That's right.
And then the Father pouring out his Spirit on the Gentile, which is on the left. And if the Gentile is truly grafted in to the family, or the Gentile is truly adopted into the family, how can we show unity? How can there be unity? How can there be any kind of uniformity if we do not follow the same rules
That's right.
of the house?
Look,
which is given who? By the Father.
That's right.
Who holds Israel here and the Gentile here, who's an adopted son, the one grafted in. We now what? We have to follow the same household. There has to be continuity. How? And it can only be by obeying the same rules of the house. It's simple.
It's very simple. We're in now Leviticus 20, verses 22 through 26. And if you all don't mind, I'll give you all a break on this, because y'all been reading a lot. Verse 22, you shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and do them. that the land where I bring you to dwell therein shall not spew you out. And it spit us out because we wanted to do what we wanted to do. Huh?
We them rebellious, stiff-necked.
And it's going to spew these Jewish people and these Arabs out soon to come.
Yeah.
And you shall not, watch this, here's a separation, and you shall not walk in the manners of the nations which I cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. 24. But I have said unto you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it to you to possess it, a land that flows with milk and honey. I am Yahweh your Elohim, which has separated you from other people. That is the first place. You shall therefore put difference, that's the second place, between clean beasts and unclean, and between unclean fowls and clean. You shall not make your souls abominable by beast or fowl or by any manner of living thing that creeps on the earth, which I have separated from you as unclean. That's the third one. Verse 26, and you shall be holy unto me. That's the fourth one. For I, Yahweh, am holy. That's the fifth one. And have severed you from other people that you should be mine. Do y'all see that?
Yeah.
A separation.
Yes.
If you want to be considered right in the eyes of the Father, you got to separate yourself from the ways of the world. But we're about to get to something here. Look at Proverbs 3:31 as we winding this thing up, because I'm sure we're going to be flashed that 5-minute mark very soon. So let's show them some further things before we get cut down here. Proverbs 3 and 31. And whoever gets there first, if you don't mind reading that, please.
Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
How many of his ways, Elder?
None.
So wait a minute.
Zero.
That's another distinction the Father's making. Because that means the oppressor's ways are not the Father's ways.
That's right.
In Isaiah 55, Yah said, my ways are not your ways, or my thoughts your thoughts.
That's right.
Wait a minute. Let's go to another one. Jeremiah 10, 1 and 2.
Yirmiyahu 10.
Jeremiah or Yirmiyahu, chapter 10, 1 and 2. Now, the reason we're going into this aspect of it before we close out tonight is to show you that the Father said you must separate yourself. In Leviticus 19, he said, I am holy, therefore you be holy. You must be separate. You cannot define what's holy. Yah defines that for you.
Yes,
Jeremiah 10, 1 and 2. Go ahead, Elder.
Hear the words which Yahweh spoke to you.
Wait a minute, this
O
is not
house.
Muhammad speaking. This ain't Buddha. Read that again, Elder.
Hear the word which Yahweh spoke to you, O house of Israel.
Go ahead.
Thus saith Yahweh, do not lean do not learn the way of the nation.
Wait a minute. So first he says, don't envy the ways of the oppressor. Now he said, don't learn the ways of the nations or the Gentiles.
That's right.
Another distinction being made. Whose ways should we learn then? His ways.
God's ways.
His ways are his commandments, his statutes.
That's right. That's right. His
Huh?
law.
That's right. Go ahead.
And do not be terrified by the signs of the heavens, although the nations are terrified by them.
Let's go to chapter 6, verse 10. Because see, this word that we're speaking right now, chapter 6, verse 10, this word don't got a place, and I knew that 5-minute mark was going to flash up there, so we got 5 minutes to go, you all. Chapter 6, verse 10, some of the things that we hear, you all hearing right now, some of you are grinding your teeth and you can't stand it because it's that spirit of error that's working in the children of disobedience right now. Read that, Elder, if you don't have verse 10.
To whom shall I speak and give warning, that they may hear? Behold, their ears are closed, and they cannot listen. Behold, the word of Yahweh has become a reproach to them. They have no delight in it.
Why? Remember it said we're supposed to go to the Father's ways, not the nation's ways. So if the Father's word is a reproach, then they love Satan's word.
That's
See
right.
that distinction right there? It's all through this scripture. We just got to know how to look at it.
Right.
Let's look at Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5. Ephesians 5, verse 5. Verses 5 through 8. Go ahead, Elder.
For this you know with certainty, that no immoral or impure person or covetous man who is an idolater has an inheritance in the kingdom of Hamashiach and of Elohim.
Okay, go ahead.
Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of Elohim comes upon the sons of disobedience.
Wait a minute. Didn't we just read unclean person?
That's
You mean
right.
to tell me if you eat pork and that makes you unclean, it says you have no inheritance in the kingdom of the Messiah and the kingdom of Elohim. Don't sound like Paul confused there.
No, he
I
don't.
don't see no confusion right there. Now, children of disobedience, let's read something else here. Let's take them to the end. In the end, there's going to be a distinction made with salvation. Revelation 21, verse 6. As we wind this up, and I'm sure we're probably at the 3-minute mark. Revelation 21, verse 6. You got to hit today if you want to know this, because the days are at hand. It's rolling on us. Verse 6. Go ahead, Elder, if you don't mind.
And he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end.
Right.
I will give to the one who thirsts from the spring of the waters of life without cost. He who overcomes shall inherit these things.
That means who overcomes the world, who
That's
overcomes
right.
himself, who denies himself daily, who lays his life down for his brother.
That's
Go
right.
ahead,
And I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son.
But watch these distinctions if you want to know this in verse 8. Watch this.
But for the cowardly and unbelieving and abominable
Yes.
and murderers
Yes.
and immoral persons,
Whoremongers,
right, and sorcerers.
That means Harry Potter and everybody that delights in Harry Potter. Watch this.
And idolaters.
Anybody worshiping Allah, Buddha, or Jesus.
Right. And all liars.
How many liars?
All.
Go ahead.
Their part will be in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Is that what the Bible just said?
Yes,
Let's
it
go on
did.
down to verse 26, please. Verse 26 and 27. And Elder Shaddai, could you take that for us, please?
Yeah.
And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life.
22:10. I'll read this if you all don't mind. We're going to have, these are our final scriptures for this evening. From 22:10 through 15 in Ecclesiastes 12:13. 22:10 says, and he said unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. There's a distinction there. He that is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. He that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am the Alpha and the Omega, or the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life. Because if you don't do them, you don't have no right to the tree of life, that you might enter into the gates of the city. For outside are homosexuals and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whoever loves and makes a lie. Elder, could you take us right there? 12, 13, and 14. We're coming to the end of this thing.